name's Andy Gilder. I'm the head of group digital strategy at Cape Town agency Machine. I suppose that means on a day-to-day basis my job is to solve digital problems for clients. Brand me is very important. From a client perspective, I would say I probably spend about 80% of my time in front of clients, and more than half of that is kind of in the new business development or sales role. So in terms of closing a lead, it helps a lot for clients to know who you are, and I think the reality is in 2013, people Google you before they meet you. So, I often talk about how the first impression no longer exists. First impression is not when you meet someone, but it's when they Google you for the first time. Straight talking. I think humor is important to me, so I don't take myself particularly seriously. I think at the end of the day, I'm not a heart surgeon. I'm in advertising. Like, what I do is not changing people's lives. It's not overly stressful. It's fun at the end of the day. If I want to do something because it's a laugh, I often do it and sell it into brands. So I think my personal brand is very much about being open and honest. I think that fits in with the digital culture. Whenever you say something online, there are a lot of people watching. So I took quite a conscious step when I joined Machine. I'd come from a startup background of an advertising one, and so in the advertising industry, I think everybody starts with who you are and where you've come from. And if you come from I came from a financial services startup background. People didn't really know much about me, but the kind of work that I'd been doing was perfectly suited to what our clients needed. So I made a very conscious effort to use something like Twitter to build my brand, as it were. There are ways and means of doing that. A lot of it is trial and error. You get a shitload wrong, but sometimes it helps build your brand better than the stuff you thought you got right. I do make a very conscious effort to talk about certain things. So, for example, at the moment, even though I use it, I'm kind of an anti-social media guy. I think Facebook has a limited lifespan, to be honest. And I'm using my social channels to promote the fact that I think there are other things coming. And there's a construct in there, and I talk to the right people online. It's very intentional what I do. Look, you can't be something that you're not. I think the best thing is to talk about what you know. In my case, that comes from a passion for what I do, but also from a crap load of reading. My competitive advantage, what is it? I read more than everyone else. The first hour and a half of every day, I'm online on Flipboard on the web reading an hour and a half of stuff that I didn't know the day before. And so I think in the digital space, it's massively important to know what's big and what's in trend, and then realize how that affects you. So 75% of what you read, you'll probably never use. But general knowledge is a massively important thing kind of in the business that we're in. And I think if you arm yourself with that knowledge, whether it's very specific to what you do or whether it's kind of in and around the topics we talk about, all of that's going to help you. I'll tell it like it is. I think the negative way to look at that is to say something like, I don't suffer fools gladly, so I used to joke a lot, I don't like stupid people, they don't last long around me. But I think it's mostly because I'm quite comfortable to tell you what I genuinely think. So, often I think I'll be harsh or critical on something that I think can do better, whereas if I think something has no hope, I'll probably just ignore it. It tends to not interest me a lot. So I think my brand promise is if I say something to you, it comes with meaning. There's conviction behind all the words that I use. I think Twitter is very much conversational. To try and be too clever and too smart and in 140 characters, you'll never win. So, at the same time, don't use lol speak. That's the fastest way to make it look like you're stupid. But it's important to kind of talk on Twitter how you would talk in real life. Get comfortable with the platform, follow the right people, realize what you are interested in and actually where you can add value. And then there's a reason to tweet. Sergey Brin of Google reckons that when you turn 18, you should be allowed to hit reset and delete all the stuff on the internet that was about you before you hit the age of 18, because before 18 you do some stupid stuff online that you kind of wish you hadn't done before. So I think everybody, I can't remember anyone that I have interviewed in the last 2 years that I haven't Googled the minute their CV hit my desk. And if things pop up on the first page of Google that I don't like, they'll never get an interview, let alone a job. So I think it's important for everyone. It's the new job description, it's the new CV, it's the new first impression. It's what everybody uses to find out about people. Yeah, this agency would notice it in quite a big way. So one of the roles that I have in my Twitter capacity is to PR the things that we do. So I think that's one of the worst quotes I've ever heard in my life. That sounds like a typical kind of intellectual internet asshole, my worst kind of person. But I suppose then Twitter would be the canteen, where you can talk to anyone, but everybody knows which table they're sitting at, and the cool kids sit at some tables and the nerdy kids sit at other ones, but even when the nerdy kids are sitting talking to each other, you can hear them across the room. So I think it's a case of, yes, we're very much defined in the niches and the circles we kind of engage in, but that doesn't mean that that conversation is necessarily private. So the beauty of advertising is we can come to work in sneakers and a t-shirt, right? And I think it's cool, and I really enjoy that. But there are days when I know I want to go and see a client, and snappy dressing does help. So I've got like a mix of chilled out and serious stuff, but I don't know, you also play a part. Sometimes if I'm going to a client and I need them to think I'm a creative person, I'll wear sneakers and a t-shirt. But most of the time I'm in sales or new business, and I think it's a sign of respect. You dress up, it's an important person. I've got lucky pitch socks. I always win pitches when I wear those socks. And I have a routine, but I don't know if I have any like power suits. I don't wear suits except for weddings. If you look like shit, that's a big problem for you. Just wave that away. Obviously, I didn't shower last night. If you look like shit, it makes a big difference, But if you're kind of somewhere in between, I think it helps you. But people that are dressed really smart often do it to make up for something they're lacking. But I think if you're somewhere in the middle or on the higher end, it's fine. But you can't turn up looking like a slob. That's why boarding a plane is something I invented, because I fly most weeks and it's very boring sitting on a plane and waiting for everyone else to board. So I create a little game for myself where when I sit down and clip in my seatbelt, I then look around me for any arbitrary things that happen and post tweets around it. So it's a bit of a challenge as well. It's usually 10 to 6 in the morning when I'm sitting on a plane about to take off. It keeps me busy for the 15 minutes. Mugs of Awesome, it's very stupid, but it came about because we have some of the worst mugs in the world in this agency. And someone showed me one that was like a hand-painted koala, and I thought that the world had to see. So I posted an Instagram pic and tweeted it, and someone said, "Oh my God, we've got a similar one," and they posted theirs back. And I thought, hang on, this is quite interesting. So I put a little kind of feeler out there. I said, anyone who works at an ad agency, send me your worst mug. And within about 10 minutes, I had about 40 mugs, and I thought, well, let's make a little website. So I chucked up a Tumblr and threw some mugs up there. What, do I think I have a good personal brand? Fuck, I suppose if you don't make it a 10, what are you doing? Like your personal brand is you, so if you're not being you, then you would be naught. If you are being you, you've got to be 10. I don't think you can rate your own personal brand. Your own flaws will come through, but stuff that, like 10. If you're not a 10, what are you doing? I don't know. Weird question, horrible question to finish. Stop it. Don't answer that. My name's Andy Gilder. This is the Brand Me series. Create, express,